Hello everyone, I'm the Graybird and welcome back to another Angry Birds video. So yeah, I haven't uploaded in a while. What about it, huh? So what if I haven't uploaded in a while? You got a problem with that, punk? Seriously though, I wanted to take like a little break because I haven't really been feeling super inspired when it came to the Angry Birds franchise. I've been uploading mainly on like my other channel, but I wanted to come back to this one and talk about the funny bird game once again. I haven't done a scripted video like this in probably like almost 3 years now. Jeez. And I want to do more of these in the future, so let me know if you like this style of video. But anyway, I don't really want to get into all that now. That's not the point of this video. This frickin' game is. This title screen still goes so hard. After making videos about the Angry Birds franchise for over 3 years now, I think it's about time to reveal my absolute favorite game in the series, that of course being Angry Birds Epic. I'm assuming you read the title of the video. This game was released on March 17th, 2014, just about 10 years ago. This was a very weird time for the Angry Birds series when they were like trying to expand the franchise, like branch out, you know. Made an animated series, multiple animated series actually. There were the Angry Birds comics, which I really want to talk about at some point. I loved these things when I was younger. And most importantly for this video, Rovio began experimenting with other game genres during this period, since the typical slingshot formula was kind of getting a bit stale after like 6 games using it. This started with Angry Birds Go in late 2013, where they made their obligatory Mario Kart clone that every single franchise seems to have. Smurfs Kart, anyone? Angry Birds Go was able to stand out, though, in my opinion, mainly due to it being on mobile. A fully 3D kart racer that was made specifically for mobile was actually pretty impressive for the time, and also the mechanics of the cars getting destroyed as you bump into stuff was pretty fun. That cupcake mechanic sucked, though. This video is about Angry Birds Go, though, okay? Because in early 2014, they released a game that, in my opinion, was the greatest game Rovio ever released. Why am I trying to be suspenseful? You already know what it is. It's Angry Birds Epic. I've said that like 3 times already. Angry Birds Epic is a turn-based RPG featuring the cast of the Angry Birds game series. It was a joint collaboration between Rovio, the Angry Birds people, of course, and Chimera, some like other game development company or something. I don't know. They're just the guys on the Angry Birds Epic loading screen, as far as I'm concerned. Wasn't even the last time like they would partner up with Rovio either. Later on, they would also work with Rovio once again to make Angry Birds Evolution, that absolute gem. I remember I always got the name confused with like a Chima, like that weird Lego furry thing. Does anyone else remember that? That's kind of a deep cut. Anyway, these guys joined forces and created the greatest RPG to ever grace this world. Persona, that's got nothing on Angry Birds Epic for iOS and Android. A lot of people will tell you that video games aren't art, but show them this game, and maybe that will change their mind. I mean, possibly. Look, in all seriousness, compared to like most games like consoles and stuff, this game isn't really anything special, right? There are far more sophisticated RPGs out there, like Pokemon or something. But you gotta understand, this was released for mobile devices, and I'd say it's pretty impressive compared to other mobile games, though that's not a very high bar to clear. But even back in 2014, when mobile games had like a bit of a better reputation, it feels more substantial, you know? It's something comparable to what you find on like Steam or something. Though I guess that's also not a very high bar. What I'm trying to say is it feels like an actual game, right? With a beginning, middle, and end, as opposed to most mobile games which were either just high score based arcadey time wasters or puzzle games. This ain't no Candy Crush, I'll tell you that. Of course, ever since Rovio's infamous cleansing of old Angry Birds games back in 2019, I remember it like it was yesterday. There's no official way to play this masterpiece, so you have to resort to downloading an APK and using an Android emulator like BlueStacks. I did this myself a few months ago and did a full playthrough of the game, and yeah, it still holds up. I think I actually enjoy it now more than I did when I was a kid, now that I actually know what I'm doing instead of just mindlessly attacking and getting frustrated when all my birds die. This game was actually the first RPG I ever played, with the genre now being one of my favorites. So yeah, thanks for that, Rovio. Now that I think about it, Angry Birds Go was the first kart racer I ever played too. The series influenced my gaming preferences so much, it's insane. So yeah, this game's a full-blown RPG with a world map, turn-based battles, excessive grinding, all your typical RPG features. It even has like a medieval theming like a lot of RPGs do for some reason. It's definitely a lot more linear than your typical RPG though, having you follow a path across the world map with only a few branching ones like along the way. It's similar to like the overworld in a Mario game if I can compare it to anything, but the levels are instead like classic turn-based RPG battles they have to complete in order to progress. You don't get nearly as much freedom to explore the overworld as you do in like your typical RPG, but again, this is a free-to-play mobile game, so it's a bit unfair to expect it to stack up to a game on like a console or something. I think it makes Epic much more straightforward though. Like, you're never confused about what you're supposed to do. Once you win a battle, there's just another one waiting for you. This simplicity also translates to the battles themselves, which are also very straightforward. You just drag the blue circle underneath the bird to whatever enemy you want to target, and then the bird will use their attack move on that enemy. Each bird also has a support move that you can use by dragging the circle to one of your party members to use the support move on them, or you can just tap a bird for them to use a support move on themselves. It's a very intuitive use of the touchscreen, which is something I always liked about the Angry Birds game. They all feel designed around mobile devices and wouldn't really work well on consoles. Trust me, they've tried. Finally, each bird has a rage ability, a much more powerful attack that you can use once the rage chili on the bottom of the screen is filled up, as you do and take damage throughout a battle. From the fairly bare bones battle system, it might seem as though this game is very easy and mindless. I mean, compare this to some other RPGs that have super complex and confusing battle systems. Makes Angry Birds Epic seem like baby's first RPG, and even I was fooled when I first decided to replay the game, thinking the only reason why I found it hard as a kid was because I was stupid. But about halfway through though, I was reminded just how difficult this game gets. Each bird may only have 3 moves, but some of the battles actually take a surprising amount of strategy to beat. Another thing that adds more complexity is the central gimmick or mechanic of the game, that being all the different classes, weapons, and character combinations you have at your disposal. The game has 5 total characters you can unlock as you progress, each playing a different role. It is a role-playing game after all. You of course start out with our boy Red, who's the knight. He's the most simplistic character, doing pretty good damage and having a pretty good health, just kind of your all-rounder. Your Mario in Super Mario Bros. 2. Can you tell what other game franchise I play a lot of? Next we have Chuck. He sucks. I hate him. Chuck plays the role of the mage or wizard or whatever. I wonder if he's in the Shadow Wizard Money Gang. His whole shtick is that his attacks deal damage to all enemies at once, though they do less damage to each individual enemy. I just find his abilities to be the least helpful out of all the birds. He's much more situational, I think. The only time where I think he's preferable in the levels is with those stupid frickin' pig ghosts that revive themselves. I hate those guys so much. They're so annoying. Oh god. I'm getting flashbacks. Anyway, Chuck is helpful for these guys because you can just kill multiple of them at once, so they can just stay dead, for the love of God. Aside from that though, he's pretty pathetic, so he's kind of like the bench warmer on my team. Next bird we get in the game is Matilda, the best one. Look, I don't know what the consensus is. I know there are some people who are super into this game, but the Angry Birds Epic pro gamers, if you will, and they all know all the stats on the classes and birds and stuff. I'm not an Angry Birds expert, right? I'm just an enjoyer of the funny bird games, okay? But in my opinion, Matilda is by far the best bird in the game. Again. I'm no expert. Maybe that's not backed up by statistical analysis. I don't know. But from my own experience, Matilda is definitely the most useful. He plays the role of the healer and is able to heal the other team members in battle with their support moves, which is extremely helpful, especially as the game goes on. From all the other birds, I would switch them on and off my team between battles depending on the situation, but throughout the whole game since I got her, I don't think I ever took Matilda off my team. She's the only bird that can heal other birds, so she feels like a nice niche that none of the other birds do. And she does decent damage too. You'd think that her healing abilities would be balanced out by her not doing that much damage, but no. She isn't too shabby in that department either. What can't she do? Guys, I think I'm in love. Hey, if there's any animators out there, I've got $50,000 if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, getting back on topic, I guess. Matilda, she's my ride or die S tier Angry Birds Epic character. Chuck is F tier. You'll never be Matilda. Next up, we have Bomb. He's also really good. Not as good as Matilda, obviously, but he's probably the second best bird, I would say. This guy is the powerhouse, dishing out massive damage to single enemies, so pretty much the opposite of Chuck, which means that he's actually good. I've been crapping a lot on Chuck in this section. Jeez, I don't know if it's like the objectively the worst, right? I just don't like him. In my opinion, is the only one that matters. So yeah, Bob is all about doing big damage. He also has like a bunch of health too, so he's good in both the defensive and offensive departments. Absolute Giga Chad. He's also like a pirate, so that's pretty cool. I like pirates. Yar har fiddle dee dee. Bomb's an A tier bird. I guess I'm putting them in a tier list now. Okay. In that case, Red's a B tier. Not as good as Matilda and Bomb, but definitely better than Chuck. Finally, we have the Blues, the three Musketeers, the three Stooges, the three Little Pigs, the three Mouseketeers. Supposed to be like the archers or the rangers, I guess. I mean, they use like a bow and arrow. I don't know. I don't really use them all that much. These guys are usually sitting next to Chuck on the sidelines. You can usually only have 3 birds on your team at a time, with my main team consisting of Red, Matilda, and Bomb. Red because of his supportive abilities, where he can shield other teammates. That's really helpful, especially later on when you're up against guys that can like one-shot you. Matilda for our healing, and Bomb for doing damage. The Blues also do like a lot of damage. I'm pretty sure more than Bomb in a lot of cases, but they're just so weak defensively. Like a light tap will take out half their health. I think Bomb is much more well-rounded, which is why I go for him instead. They still bring out the Blues every now and then. They definitely get more action than Chuck, but they aren't one of my preferred picks. C tier. So those are all the birds, just the OG 5 flock members, or I guess 7 since the Blues are 3 separate birds, but whatever. No, it would have been cool if they added more birds. I mean, they added Terrence in the game, but he isn't playable. He just watches you fight to the death in arena mode. That's pretty fair, honestly. If you were playable, he'd be way too overpowered. They also could have added like Hal or Stella or Bubbles. Hal could have had like a boomerang weapon. That would have been cool. But it's fine, you know. While there are only like 5 birds, each of them have like a bunch of different headgear, which acts as like classes, changing their attack and support move. Like, you could swap out Red's knight outfit for a samurai one. He's just, like, way more powerful. Again, I'm no expert on the subject. I don't have a PhD in Angry Birds epic classes, so I'm not really, like, super sure which ones are better or worse. But, I mean, there are, like, some that are obviously better than others, right? Like, the samurai is obviously better than the knight or whatever. But I don't really know the intricacies of the Angry Birds epic classes. It's like a tier list of all of them by some guy. How do you say it? Like Rarish? I don't know how to say that, but watch that if you're curious. I actually haven't gotten all the classes. Some of the more powerful ones are really expensive and require like a lot of grinding, which I mean, I love this game, but even I have my limits. The ones I do have and like using though are the Samurai for Red, the Druid for Matilda, and the Berserker for Bomb. Chuck and the Blues can just kind of frick off. I don't know. I'm kind of just now realizing how little the abilities of the birds in this game relate to their abilities throughout the rest of the series. I mean, Bomb's rage move is blowing up. That makes sense, right? Chuck's rage move is sort of related to speed. I mean, I guess he kind of like goes fast, like all your birds attack really quickly. But that's really it. Yeah, the game was a pretty big departure from the typical Angry Birds formula. Like, imagine if I wasn't keeping up with the series, right? Imagine if I wasn't a die-hard Angry Birds fan. Impossible, I know, but I'd probably be like really confused as to why they make an Angry Birds RPG of all things. Anyway, the enemies who you fight against, who are pigs, obviously, the bird and pig race war continues. They also have like a lot of variety. Some of my favorites include the stick pig. He tries his best. The guard guy with the feather. I remember when I was a kid, I had no idea why he had a feather, why the birds laughed when he hit them. Like masochism in my Angry Birds game. But no, he just tickles them, which lowers the rage chili meter. Tickle torture in my Angry Birds game? Dude, there's this guy. He's actually a reference to a pretty obscure video game character. You probably haven't heard of him. It's Mario. Just a little did you know gaming fun fact for you there. Wait. You know what? Wasn't there like that one Angry Birds epic event where they put Sonic in the game? Foreshadowing. Anyway, what was I talking about again? Oh yeah, pigs. Did you know that the Cactus Knight, is actually a reference to Terraria. I'll stop with that bit. The brutes were terrifying when I was a kid because they would like pretty much kill you in like one hit. I still have PTSD from that one level in a southern sea with a big pirate guy. You made a 7-year-old cry. You monster. There's the ghosts, which are I really don't like the ghost. The wizards are pretty cool though. The shadow wizard money gang. I already referenced that meme in this video. What am I doing? But no other pig can compare to the greatest one of them all, Stinky Stanley. By far the greatest enemy in the game. We love Stinky Steve. I mean Stinky Stanley, not Stinky Steve. Stinky Steve is something else. This is, of course, not including Piggy McCool, okay? Piggy McCool fans, calm down. He's a pig, but he's not an enemy. He actually helps you by selling you stuff and also automatically being in your friends list. So if you're a friendless loser, you at least have him. Piggy McCool was there for me when no one else was. Another thing I want to talk about is the allure of this game. This game is a very complex story by Angry Birds standards, of course, which aren't that high. Normally, all we get is the pigs steal our eggs, a freaking massive genocide ensues, but here it's a bit more in depth. Pigs still steal the eggs, of course, and they put them in these towers across the map. There's 5 eggs in this game as opposed to the usual 3 for some reason, and in the little comic panels after you save an egg, they're shown to be like much bigger than usual. Like, what the hell is even hatching out of this? Are these the Mighty Eagle's eggs? That actually might be true. Potential game theory? MadPad, hit me up. For the intro, there's like a fully animated cutscene and everything, which wasn't originally in the game, which is a relief since I did not remember there being an animated cutscene. I thought it was like some Mandela effect crap. There was originally a comic strip for the intro, just like with all the other cutscenes in the game. Angry Birds really like using comic strips during this era, jeez. Anywho, the plot is that King Pig wants the eggs, yada yada yada. He sends Chef Pig, who is now Whiz Pig, and Prince Porky, who's actually an original character or 2 ago, get the eggs. Prince Porky, well, love that name by the way. He's supposedly based on like Ross, the pig from Bad Piggies, but I think that's kind of a stretch. Either way, I think it would be neat if Rovio brought this guy back. In fact, it would be cool if they brought back the epic version of these characters in general. Hashtag bring back 2014. They also added this intro battle where you have like the most OP weapons and classes before taking them away from you and stripping you down to nothing. That sounded weird. I don't remember this being the original version of the game, but I guess they added it later on so you'd be more determined to get the gear in the actual game through your hard work and dedication, or more realistically, buying a bunch of in-game currency. Yeah, even this game wasn't immune to the plague of microtransactions that were infecting mobile games during this time. Microtransactions had existed in mobile games since like very early on. Like even in the first Angry Birds game, you had the whole pay 99 cents for the Mighty Eagle to come and beat the level for you. But I feel like around this time, like 2013 and 2014, was when microtransactions in mobile games really evolved into their current, more egregious forms. Luckily, they aren't very obtrusive or anything in this game. You could very well beat the campaign without paying a single cent. But getting some of the better equipment, yeah, that's going to be a challenge without making a donation to the Church of Free-to-Play Gaming. Just be happy they didn't add a live system. Anyway, Chuck gets captured, and we unfortunately have to go save him, which begins our epic quest. Or Angry Birds' epic quest. Do people even say epic, like, unironically anymore? I don't think they do. So in the game, we explore Piggy Island, which I think is really cool. Something I really liked about this era of Angry Birds, like from 2013 to 2015, was how Rovio is like really building a coherent world for this series. You know, they established Piggy Island as like the setting, and the landmarks can be seen throughout all the different media. Stuff like how the birds live in Cobalt Plateaus, the pigs live in Pig City, there's the Square Forest, the Desert Island, the Hoghead Mountain, and while I wouldn't say it feels like a real place, I mean, I'm pretty sure all these are vastly different environments on such a small island is impossible, but it feels consistent and thought through. That, along with stuff like how the birds and pigs have their own consistent language, which can even be heard in this game and like the voice lines in battle. There was just like way more effort put into the world building for freaking Angry Birds of all things than was needed, until they threw that all away when the Angry Birds movie came out. But I'll save my thoughts on that for a later date. Epic is by far the most detailed look we get into Piggy Island, and it makes for a very diverse setting, you know. We got the grassy plains, a desert area, gotta have a desert area, a lot of seas with a bunch of like pirate stuff, snowy mountains, a bamboo forest, we got it all. You can also stop by Professor Pig's laboratory on the world map to buy potion recipes. I think at least. I never went there. For my last playthrough, I followed in a 7-year-old me's footsteps and didn't use any potions throughout the whole game. Because I wanted to challenge myself, of course, okay? It's definitely not because I forgot they existed. Professor Pig being a good guy is like another thing they kept from the tunes and comics as well. So see what I mean? See what I mean? It's all connected. I really appreciate the visual style of this game too. I'm pretty sure this is like the first one to use the Toons designs, which are the best ones in my opinion. I guess Go also used the Toons designs, but it was in 3D, so it doesn't count. They all look like crap. I'm glad they went with like this 2D style though. I have noticed that sometimes the facial features aren't layered properly in the overworld, so we get stuff like this. But I'm not sure if that was just something wrong with the APK I was using. Another thing I really like about the art style, not just this game, but like the entire series during this like period, was how everything looks like it was thrown together using like a bunch of random items. Like in Angry Birds Go, you can see like how the carts are made of like a bunch of different objects, like milk cartons, buckets, or just random pieces of wood being used to like make the carts as if they were just made of random stuff that washed up on shore. This is pushed like even further in this game, I would say, with all the equipment you can get, like really just being made up of stuff you find in like your garage or something. Some of these are like really inventive too, like a hammer made from a bell, or a heart made from a seashell, or whatever the hell this thing is. Of course, we can't forget the fork lance, the tire shield, the funnel gun. I can finally live out my dream of beating someone over the head with a club made from a freaking pound cake pan. Dude, I also have to talk about the music too. This game has one of my favorite soundtracks in the entire Angry Birds series, and the series has a lot of really good music, so that's really saying something. I've been using it throughout the video, of course, because like, what else would I be using as background music? The freaking Radetzky March. The music in this game is like a very distinct style, you know, that being really strange but really catchy. We got like the main theme, which starts out with like kind of a silly, goofy little quirky tone, but then it transitions into like this more orchestral rendition of the same tune. It's so good. I love it. I fucking love it. There's also the overworld map theme, which they changed for some reason in a later update. I think the new song is fine. It sounds more like grand and I guess like adventurous, but it can't top the original. That song is iconic with the freaking do 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 do. That song is like never left my head since the very first time we played this game. There's also the battle themes, which go like so hard. You call that a stick? No, I call it a freaking masterpiece. I don't even know what the hell a freaking porkabilly is, but it slaps. The boss theme is also really great. I always love it when they include a rendition of the original Angry Birds theme, which the series honestly does a lot. if you listen to as much Angry Birds music as I have, you notice how often they bring back this tune. Of course, there's the best song in the game, no contest. That one song from the Angry Birds movie event in 2016. Johann Strauss wishes he could make music this good. So I guess to wrap up the story, after fighting through a bunch of pigs and a bird in that one boss fight in the old nesting barrows that was like a clone of Red or something, I don't know what that's about. Maybe it could represent us fighting against our inner demons or something dumb like that. They were probably just reusing assets, to be honest. But anyway, after all that, we finally partake in a boss fight with Prince Porky, Whiz Pig, and the man himself, King Pig. Keeping consistent with his portrayal in Angry Birds tunes, he's a freaking wuss. One of his moves is literally just crying. Even the description calls him a wimp. Whiz Pig and Prince Porky are pretty annoying though. They just keep healing themselves. Whiz Pig with his like Black Storm move, and Prince Porky with his freaking AIDS bombs. But after we beat them, you think it'd be over, right? You know, we defeated King Pig, and now we get our eggs back, right? But no. Idiot. We get the biggest plot twist in gaming history. Skip to this timestamp, I guess, if you don't want to hear spoilers for a 10-year-old mobile game. It turns out Chef Pig, or Whiz Pig, actually, was a true villain all along. Gasp! And he takes the eggs for himself. This is another thing that was carried over from Toons, like the comics, that being how like Chef Pig is always scheming and trying to take the throne. He actually doesn't in this game. Chef Pig wanting to become king was fairly overlooked in the Toons and comics, in my opinion, which is a shame. It's a very interesting dynamic. But Chef Pig, I mean Whiz Pig. Sorry. This is like an alternate universe or something. But Whiz Pig gets his time to shine in the game as the final boss. You have to go through all the wizard guys again first, kind of like how you have to like beat the Elite Four before you can fight the Pokemon Master. Except they're all pigs. It's like actually difficult, guys. I have a confession to make. As a kid, I never actually got past the wizards. I tried and tried, but that stupid freaking fire guy kept obliterating me. Wait, I just realized each of the wizards have like a different element. There's a fire guy, the plant guy, the ice guy, the lightning guy. This really is like Pokemon. Yeah, I had never actually beaten the game up until my last playthrough. I already saw like the final boss and everything, of course. I mean, I've watched the Zack Scott games playthrough at least 3 times, but it was still really satisfying to finally beat the wizards, get to the Whiz-Pig fight myself. 7-year-old me would be so proud. Now the Whiz-Pig fight. Honestly, the first phase was relatively easy. It's just Whiz-Pig and 2 zombie guys. But once you kill Whiz-Pig, they also die, so you can just ignore them. But after you get his health down to 0, you think it'd be over, right? But no! Plot twist! Again, Whiz-Pig comes back as freaking Satan, and he here's where the real fight begins. Porky Pig even comes in and joins. Wait. Said freaking Porky Pig. Prince Porky even comes in and joins our team, and we get to use all of his moves that he used against us in his fight. This is like really sweet. I love when games let you play as like a boss after you beat them. It's like when you get to play as like Bowser in the final segment of Super Mario Odyssey. That's the last Mario reference, I swear. This fight was actually pretty difficult, especially with how I didn't use any potions. I actually don't know how I made it this far. But I did eventually beat Whiz-Pig once and for all. The birds get the eggs back, the pigs get the crown back, and everyone lives happily ever after. Until the next game, of course. It was very satisfying to finally beat this game after so long. And everything I talked about in this video, the simplistic but surprisingly in-depth gameplay mechanics, the large amount of content, the visual style, the music, it all comes together to firmly plant Angry Birds Epic as my favorite Angry Birds game. There were of course other games that came close, like Angry Birds Star Wars 2, which is probably the best slingshot game in my opinion, and Bad Piggies because it's freaking Bad Piggies, but ultimately, I had to go with this one. Not sure what it is, but this game specifically gives me a certain feeling that the other games of the series don't. It's not nostalgia, since I'm nostalgic for all these games, but it might have something to do with the fact that this was like the last Angry Birds game I really got into as a kid. I mean, I remember playing Angry Birds Transformers like later that year, when that came out, but I never really got into that game. Probably because I wasn't really super into Transformers. After that, though, I kind of fell off the series, only playing Angry Birds games here and there instead of just like playing every single one as they were released like I used to. I'm not sure why. It might have had something to do with a certain funny bear game that came out during that time, but I digress. It wasn't until 5 years later, in 2019, when I would start following the series again, which was 5 years ago from now, actually. The time between now and 2019 is the same amount of time between 2019 and 2014. It's actually insane. I swear, every year since 2020 just like blended together for me. But existential crisis aside, this game will always hold a special place in my heart. But no, there's a pretty sizable post-game, like the Chronicle Clay Caves and stuff. But as of now, I haven't gotten into that yet. There were also like a bunch of event updates that Rovio would add with new content. There was a bit more of a hassle now since the game was officially delisted and you have to like rely on APKs, which is unfortunate, but as is the way of digital gaming. There's a mod though, I forget the name of the guy who made it, but it brings back like the seasonal events in the Arena 2, which is like a really sweet. I didn't even know that was possible. Hopefully Rovio one day brings this game back under the Rovio Classics label or something. Though there probably be like other games they want to bring back first, so that most likely isn't going to happen anytime soon. But until then, Angry Birds Epic will always be in our hearts. Anyway, you know, I should probably end this video there. If you watch this far, I guess comment down below your favorite Angry Birds game. If it's not epic, you know, I'm gonna be mad. So you better watch yourself. And again, this is kind of like a different kind of video. So if you enjoyed it, enjoyed this type of video, please let me know. But if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, notifications, all the good stuff, and I will see you in the next video.